going on double dates, couple vacations, backyard barbecue parties. When you hear those words, that probably is a mixture of feelings that you have. Part of it is longing, like, yes, I wish we could do that. At the same time, maybe you feel some sadness because you realize how hard it is to do events like that. Events with other couples, going to parties, doing community with your spouse is hard sometimes. So, what do you do when your spouse needs are more introverted or quieter and you are wanting to be more active? Well, there's a way that you are able to develop you and your spouse's own special time together while you still get to do the activities that you love and enjoy.
Hey friend, do the daily demands of family life leave little time for self-care? Are you losing yourself in the process of caring for others? Are you ready to make self-care and healthy boundaries a natural part of your day while embracing your roles as a wife and mom? Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Christina, married 17 years to a neurodiverse man, mom of 3 neurodiverse kids, and many more roles. Welcome to the Moms and Neurodiverse Families podcast. Get ready to begin your self-care journey. Grab your planner and listen in as we take another small step towards a peaceful, healthier you.
This is going to be a nuanced topic we're going to talk about today. But before we begin, I want to remind you, if you haven't left a 5-star review, please do so. I thank you so much for those who already have. I read those and it gives me encouragement, especially when I'm wondering if this is helpful, if this podcast is making a difference. So thank you so much. And also for the messages that you send me. Today, we are going to be discussing what to do when, for your self-care, you want to be around community. That's what I call it. One of the pillars of taking care of your life needs, your self-care, is having community. And that means being social and going out with friends or groups of people or different events. But what do you do when your spouse is not in the same wavelength as you? For example, many neurodiverse spouses prefer smaller group gatherings. They prefer it in a open area or a quieter area or an area where they can control some of the different sensory challenges. Now, there are some people who do love the stimulus and they want to be in a loud environment, but often I see usually it is an environment that is not crowded, it's not loud, there's not flashing lights. But maybe you enjoy going to concerts or you like going to a bigger church, but he prefers a smaller one. The first step in this is first acknowledging both of your needs are valid. And this is where sometimes people will say, well, I'm going to just not go out and do stuff. I'm not going to do trips. I'm going to skip these things because it's just too much for the other person. But that is unhealthy for you. And if you are denying a base need, which is being in community, whether it's with one other person or 3 or 5 or at a whole concert, when you deny that, you are reducing yourself and you're not able to be the spouse that you want to be and the mom that you want to be. And to deny his needs, that he prefers an environment that doesn't have chaotic schedules or activities, especially places where the activities are unknown. Everything is just off the seat of their pants. It's not like a baseball game or a church service where there's a order to it. It is something that maybe is like a birthday party or it's a picnic, and there's a lot of things up in the air, and that makes it hard sometimes for neurodiverse people who want to be able to understand the schedule. So both are valid. So what do you do when both of your needs are applicable, but they cannot work together? My first suggestion is understanding where do your needs socially connect and cross over, and where do they divert? So for example, if both of you agree, like, yes, church, that's great. Now, maybe where they divert is the size of church that you want to go to, but you may both agree on that. Or maybe you both agree that you love being outdoors, but you divert where he says no to outdoor concerts and you prefer late night outdoor concerts. So you see the examples I'm giving here. sometimes there are areas that do overlap, but the specifics, the details of each of those do not. But when you can begin finding what does overlap, then the next thing to do is to find those activities that overlap and meet both of your needs. For example, if you love being outdoors, maybe one of you prefers to be doing water sports and the other one of you prefers to be someplace that's not crowded. Well, there's ways that can be worked out, whether it's going to a lake, and or maybe you're on the coast and there's ocean and you're going to an uncrowded beach. Is being willing to be uncomfortable to take extra steps, such as driving an extra 20 minutes to go to a beach that's not as crowded. Maybe you love the sand, you love the sun, but he doesn't like the sand as much, but he loves the outdoors and the sun. Finding a beach where you could be in the sand and there's grass nearby, and maybe you put a big old blanket and maybe even some shade covering, and it's on park grass and park sand, and you're able to meet both of your needs. Or maybe you're in the sand and he's on the grass. You're at the same place, you're a few feet away, but you both are able to be out there in your preference. So there's ways this can be done, but it does take a little bit of extra work. So I really do encourage you to find which areas socially do overlap. When you talk about dinner parties or maybe church small groups, that can get trickier because there's a lot of social dynamics that are present in those moments. And for dinners, maybe if you go with his work, sometimes maybe he does things that really makes you uncomfortable. Maybe he embarrasses you, or maybe he puts you down and he doesn't realize it. Maybe he's just feeling uncomfortable, doesn't know what to say, and then he says the things that come to his mind first, and it's something that was supposed to be kept private. You wince because you're like, oh, I don't want to go to that event again. I mean, I like these people, but I don't know how to handle this. So there are ways that you can work through different cues, different signals to him when he should be not talking about certain topics. But if it comes to a point where you really feel uncomfortable for whatever reason, then going to those events maybe is not the best idea. You're only going to those social work events with his company when it truly is needed. And if he feels comfortable going by himself, then he goes. That's fine. And the same goes for your work event. Maybe it's more stressful when he does come, and it's better for you to go by that by yourself. But looking at these different options can really help. Shopping. Maybe your spouse likes to shop because looking at all the different new items that are out there and it's a novelty. Maybe he hates it. Like he hates the mall because it's loud music and there's people walking everywhere and they're bumping into each other. But figuring out, where do your interests cross? So maybe you like going shopping, but he hates most stores, but he likes the man store. Whatever the man store is in your area, he likes that. And maybe you're going along with him. It's not exactly what you want to be shopping, but you're still going out and going with him shopping. And then the request is, once a month, can you please go with me to the mall? Can we make that barter, that trade? That can help sometimes. But there are moments when it won't work. Either it could be it is too hard for your spouse to be in certain environments, it's too triggering, it's too challenging. Maybe what he was able to do now, it's increasing. He's able to go to some of these events, but it's still a challenge. Maybe he's growing in it. Or work has become a heavier object in his back, a heavier stone in his backpack. And for him, his ability to handle diverse situations, such as social situations, is diminishing. So for you realizing like this, we have limited times, things we can do together. But that doesn't mean that you then water down yourself or you water down your desires. There's trips that you want to go to, but he doesn't maybe want to go on a trip because it's too challenging because of the transitions and his schedule. And this is my word to you. The third thing. The third thing is, Don't stop being yourself. Don't deny your interests and your desires because your husband is not able to participate with you in them, especially in cultures where it is assumed that the husband and wife are going out and doing things together, especially when you see doing vacations with other couples or a weekend trip with other couples or maybe even like doing double dates. That can be a common thing for many cultures. And for you, you realize maybe eventually you'll get there, but it's just not right now. But that doesn't mean that you put everything on hold until he's able to do that. Or maybe he's unwilling. Maybe he unfortunately has a heart that's like is not interested in doing those activities. Either way, and if it is that, I'm sorry. That's hard. That's really hard when that happens. But either way, don't stop doing what you enjoy, what brings you life. Community is so important. And sometimes being in community, we can go to a coffee shop and maybe we're by ourselves, but being in that group of setting with other people that who are working on their goals and dreams, their homework, and having the background sounds, it can feel nice. You're part of something yet you're not. Going to the beach. You might love the beach and maybe you're not going with anyone else, but you're still there and there's other people around and you might talk to a person here or there and laugh a little bit about the weather or about some of the recent sports games. There's a little bit of community there. Now, obviously it's not as in depth as having community with close friends, but it is still being out there amongst other people. And the goal is to bring friends along with you. So look at those trips you want to take. Where are you thinking you would like to go? I mean, like think about that. What would you need to do? Now, depending upon your kids, if they're verbal, nonverbal, their ages and capacity, I know for myself, the most I could take sometimes was just one night away, unless I had extra help. Now I'm able to do longer amounts, but it does vary depending upon the season of life. So day trips are great. Don't cross those off either. Yes, maybe right now you can't take that trip to the Bahamas, to Florida, wherever you're thinking of you want to go. But you can still take that day trip with your girlfriends. You can still do a trip to a museum that you enjoy. So I really encourage you, don't wait to live your life fully. Do that now and still look for ways that you are able to do events with your spouse. When we are able to be thankful that we're able to do an whether it's going to a park, whatever it is, maybe it's movie at the park or it's orchestra at the park. I've seen those as well. And that works. That's great. I mean, having a simple goal of once a month of doing something together socially outside the home, that's a pretty big goal. And maybe you can't even start there. Like Christina, we can't even be in the same car together. Okay, then you got to work in different goals, right? My point being is if there is something that does cross over, no matter how small it is, take advantage of that. Even if it's a morning walk, maybe he enjoys the sunrise or the sunset and taking that walk with him. That can be something you're going out and about. The community part is usually when you're seeing people as you're going along, walking along the sidewalk or on the trail, and you're saying hi. It's not much, but still you're getting out. You're around other people, a different environment. Especially being in a different environment is so good for your brain. That's new stimulus. It's also good for your neurodivergent brains. When you take a trail, a hike, taking a different path, maybe walking it backwards instead of the normal way, your brain receives new stimulus, and that is so good, especially for brains that can be very rigid and very literal thinking. To have that new input can be very helpful. But for you as well, having something that's beautiful, that's relaxing, sitting by some water and watching, just observing nature is so good for you. So this self-care of community, again, sometimes the community is very limited. It's just talking to some strangers and saying hi, but it's knowing you're a part of something bigger. You're enjoying a moment collectively. And sometimes it's sweet and you're able to have time with close friends. But don't stop doing these moments. I know many women who have thought, well, I'm going to wait until he's ready to join me. And then years pass by and then they have regret. Even if that's you, you've been married 20, 30, 40 years, and you realize right now, like, oh my goodness, I put everything on hold because I was waiting for him to join me. And now you're realizing, I don't know when that's going to happen. Again, look for the things that you guys do have in common that you can do together and enjoy that. But then don't stop. Go by yourself. Go with some friends. You keep doing that because it's going to benefit you and it will benefit the marriage as well. Now, if he is someone who does not like you going out and doing different events, that will be a stretch, right? This is going to be a growing area for him to be comfortable with the fact that you are going to pursue your needs. And it's his choice if he doesn't want to join. And that's okay, right? If what you are pursuing conflicts with his sensory challenges, that is okay. But he shouldn't ask you not to take those steps for you to have that self-care, to be around community, around others, to your detriment. So it'd be a stretch for you as well, because maybe you're used to just going with the flow. And now you have to say, honey, I really need to do this. I know this maybe caused transitions for you. You're not used to me be gone this night, but we need to grow in this area. And that uncomfortability-ness, that's really a word, but being uncomfortable, that being uncomfortable means you're leaving a comfort zone and you're going to something new. And it's different. And then there's growth. And right now, I'm guessing you want something that is new, that feels like life, that makes you feel alive. And that means doing some different patterns. So I hope this encourages you to take that step. So right now, just ask yourself, if you would take half a day, let's just keep it small. Maybe it's even going to be 3 hours. We have to start, small steps here. But if you took some time to do an activity that you enjoy yourself, what would that do for you? Maybe it's the first time, it's kind of a flap because you're just anxious about it, but you do it again. Eventually, you get to a point, what would happen if you were taking that time for yourself? And what would happen if you found an activity once a month that you and your husband could do that meets both of your needs for being out and about and being in community? This can help build connections and shared interactions between you and your spouse, but also taking time for yourself can mean the lights come on in your eyes. You feel this lightness you haven't felt before because you're taking time for yourself. If you decided to take a step after hearing this episode, please send me a message. I did have some issues again with receiving messages, and I think I finally got that squared away. So thank you for those who have messaged me, but I would love to hear from you.
Hey, thank you for joining me today. I pray this episode gave you encouragement to take one small step. If so, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help other women find this show. By the way, if you're loving this conversation and want more encouragement like this, join my email list at bit.ly/myselfcare. That is bit.ly/myselfcare. I have a planner launching soon that will help you put all this into action in your own life. I look forward to chatting with you again next week for another episode.